number 1. Spain renounces sovereignty over Cuba, which will be occupied by the United States. The U.S. assumes that the international law obligations during its occupation for the protection of life and property. Article 2. Spain cedes the island of Puerto Rico and other West Indies islands, along with the island of Guam and the Marianas and Ladrones, to the United States. Article 3. Spain cedes the Philippines, defined by a specific geographic line, to the United States. The U.S. agrees to pay Spain $20 million after the treaty ratification exchange. Article 5. Upon the treaty signing, the United States agreed to send back Spanish soldiers captured during the capture of Manila in the Philippines by the American forces. Spain, in turn, commits to evacuating the Philippines and the Guam, and the specifics of the evacuation process are to be similar to those agreed upon for the Puerto Rico and the other West Indies island under the Protocol of August 12, 1898. This time it takes for Spain to leave the Philippines and Guam will be decided by both the United States and Spain. During this process, certain things like flags, warships that weren't captured, guns, and other military stuff will still belong to Spain. Also, the big guns and forts and defenses will stay where they are for 6 months after the treaty is confirmed. If the US and Spain agree, the US can buy some of these military things from Spain during this time. It's basically laying out how they handle the transition of military control between the two countries. Article number 8. Spain relinquishes control of buildings, wharves, barracks, forts, structures, public highways, and other movable property in Cuba, Puerto Rico, the West Indies, Guam, and the Philippines archipelago. This relinquishment is based on the public domain's lawful ownership, belonging to the Crown of Spain. Importantly, it is clarified that this transfer of property does not affect the property or rights of provinces, municipalities, establishments, civic bodies, or private individuals. The treaty also addresses the preservation of documents in archives, ensuring reciprocal access between the signing parties. It underscored the careful preservation of archives and the records related to the territories, emphasizing the right of private individuals to obtain authenticated copies of pertinent documents. Article number 13. This article safeguards the rights of property secured by copyrights and patents held by Spaniards in Cuba, Puerto Rico, the Philippines, and other ceded territories. It ensures the continued respect for this intellectual property rights at the time of the treaty's ratification. Additionally, Spaniard scientific literacy and artistic works, as long as they do not disrupt public order, can be admitted free of duty into the ceded territories for a period of 10 years. This provision acknowledged the importance of protecting intellectual property and cultural contribution during this transitional period. Article 13. Spain retains the power to establish consular officers in the ports and places of the territories relinquished or ceded by the treaty. This recognizes Spain's ongoing diplomatic presence in the transferred territories. Article 16. This article deals specifically with the obligations in Cuba. The United States commits to fulfilling obligations only during its occupancy of Cuba. Upon the termination of this occupancy, the U.S. will advise any government established in Cuba to assume the same obligations. In essence, this article acknowledges the temporary nature of U.S. commitments in Cuba and highlights the intention to transition responsibilities to a future Cuban government. Article 17. The ratification process for the treaty. It will be ratified by the President of the United States with the Senate's advice and consent, and by the Queen Regent of Spain. The exchange of ratifications is said to take place in Washington within 6 months from the treaty's date or earlier if possible. The treaty was signed in duplicate in Paris on December 10, 1898 by the respective plenipotentiaries.